Hi, everybody. So today's installation of the Sergeant at Arms is about healthcare. Yeah, yes, I had to stop and take a pause. I said healthcare, and I meant healthcare. So let's just kind of walk through a couple of things because this has become such an issue, and clearly it's the number one issue on Capitol Hill. We have the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, and we now have the American Health Care Act, now known as Trumpcare. Now, let me talk about what they're known as for just a moment, which is so the Affordable Care Act, when it came to being, was just that until the Republicans, who didn't like it and didn't want President Obama taking credit for anything, decided to put a label on it called Obamacare and then spin it negatively. So now the Republicans are in charge, and they've introduced their bill called the American Health Care Act, and now the Democrats are mounting a campaign to turn it into Trump care. Now, the Republicans have been clear to say, no, no one's name should be on this, because they don't want anybody's name on it, and it shouldn't be. But again, just like they did to President Obama, the Democrats are going to do to President Trump. It is now going to be called Trump Care, and you can guarantee there's going to be hashtags all over Twitter that say Trump Care at some point as well. The perspective that I think we all need to take on this is nobody's name needs to be on it. President Obama's name doesn't need to be on it. President Trump's name doesn't need to be on it. This should be about the people who are getting care. This should be about the voters and the citizens who need this. Everything else is irrelevant. This can't be about party politics. And that's all this is really, is about party politics. I mean, the Republicans need it to be theirs for the history books, and the Democrats need it to be theirs for the history books. Neither one of them need to take credit for it. It needs to go into the history books as something that benefited the voters, period. So the difficulty now is we've got the Affordable Care Act. Democrats and Republicans alike have said it's not perfect. Republicans go a little further down the road about how imperfect it is. But Democrats have been willing to say, it's not perfect, it needs some work. But what piece of legislation do you know that doesn't need a tweak here or a tweak there? The problem is the Republicans are so intent to stab Obamacare in the heart until it's dead that they just can't let go of that. They're much too busy figuring out how to sully Obamacare and just kill it altogether that they're missing the forest for the trees. The truth is, the Affordable Care Act is such that all it needs is to be revised, adjusted, refined. That's all it needs to happen. And I've tweeted this a number of times about how all it needs is revisions. If you want to revise it and then rename it the American Health Care Act, fine, go ahead and do that. But we need to drop the campaign called repeal and revise, repeal and replace Obamacare. We need to drop that campaign altogether. That just needs to go away because you're trying to reinvent the wheel and you're trying to start from scratch. And it's unnecessary to start from scratch. So the thing we need to focus on is let's put together a healthcare bill that benefits everyone, that covers everyone, that is good for everyone, and stop making this about party politics. So that's where the Sergeant at Arms stands on healthcare. Let's see what happens because it's still ongoing, and everyone's wondering, oh, why is it so difficult? President Trump said, oh, who knew healthcare was going to be this difficult? We did. Everybody knew healthcare was going to be this difficult. This is one of the reasons why it's important to have politicians doing this because they know the legislative process. And this is why, we're in a difficult position with President Trump because he's not a legislator, he's not a public servant, and so he doesn't know, yes, this is how difficult these things are. And this is the process that it takes, and it can take a long time unless you figure out how to remove the politics from it. We'll have progress then. The point at which they say this isn't about being a Republican, this isn't about being a Democrat, we don't have to sully each other's names, and we don't have to kill each other's bills to make something positive happen for the country. So, what do you think? Leave some comments, send me some tweets, because I'm still actively tweeting at Sergeant at Arms USA. I'm still sending those tweets to the president, sending those tweets to the Speaker of the House. and I hope you are as well. So, with that, I will close this installation of the Sergeant at Arms, and we will see you next time.